let's sort of turn our gaze from the inside of our erythrocytes to what's going on the outside. So we've got something important going on the outside of our erythrocytes. We have some important glycoproteins. Glycoproteins are proteins that have carbohydrate chains attached, and these are usually used as cell identification markers to help identify whether a cell belongs or not. We refer to these glycoproteins or these identification markers on our red blood cells as the antigens. There are several different types of antigens that can be on the surface of red blood cells, and it's these antigens that determine your blood type. So your blood type, whether you're type A, type B, type O, or type AB, is determined by the antigens on the surface of your red blood cells. If you have the A antigen on the surface of your red blood cells, you have type A blood. If you have the B antigen on the surface of your red blood cells, then you have type B blood. If you have A antigens and B antigens both on the surface of your blood cells, that gives you type AB blood. And if you don't have either, if you don't have A or B, that's what gives a person O blood. In this particular figure, they're simplifying the antigens for you. You can see that for the A antigen, they're representing it as a circle, and the B antigen, they're representing as a diamond. And so here's someone with type AB blood. They have both circles for A and diamonds for B. And someone with O blood doesn't have circles or diamonds, so they have O. Now, the important thing about these antigens is they allow your body to determine if a cell belongs or not. If a cell in your body has your antigens, then your immune system recognizes it as belonging and will leave it alone. On the other hand, if you have an antigen in your body that is not your antigen, your immune system will recognize that and it produces antibodies that can attack the antigens that don't belong. So floating around in your plasma, you have antibodies that will bind to and destroy cells that have antigens that don't belong in your body. So let's take a look at these same blood groups again, and this time look at the antibodies that are present. If someone has type A blood, what antigen belongs? A. What antigen does not belong if you have type A blood? That's right, B doesn't belong. So you will make antibodies that will bind to and destroy the B antigen. We call those anti-B antibodies. Kind of like anti-aircraft missiles destroy aircraft. Anti-B antibodies destroy cells with the B antigen. Someone with type B blood, B antigens belong. A antigens do not belong. So someone with type B blood makes anti-A antibodies to attack and destroy any A that gets into their body. How about AB? If a person has type AB blood, which antigens belong? A and B. So are you going to make anti-A antibodies? No. Are you going to make anti-B antibodies? No, because A and B both belong. So you won't make either of those. You won't make any antibodies against those blood antigens. On the other hand, if you have type O blood, then A doesn't belong and B doesn't belong, and you'll produce both anti-A antibodies and anti-B antibodies to destroy A or B if it comes into your body. So this is all really cool, but why do we care? Well, there's a really important reason we care about antigens in blood cells, and that's because it's important when it comes to blood transfusions. Since the antibodies in a person's plasma will attack and destroy any blood that doesn't belong, it's important to make sure that you never add new antigens into a person's body. If you add blood that has a new antigen into a person's body, their antibodies will attack that blood. And it causes a number of problems, like destroying the cells or clumping together of the cells that may block your small blood vessels. So, a person with type A blood, they have type A antigens. You can add any blood to them that isn't going to add a new antigen. So what's the most obvious blood type you can give someone with type A blood? Type A blood, right. They have A belongs, you're fine. What other blood type could you give someone with type A blood? Type O. Remember, type O doesn't have any antigens. So if you put type O into that type A person, there's no antigen, they're not going to destroy the blood. How about type AB? It has an A in it, right? But what's the problem? It also has B. So if you take type AB blood and donate it to a person with A blood, then their anti-B antibodies will attack the B. They don't care if the A is there or not. They'll attack the B antigen, and that will destroy the blood. And of course, type B isn't going to work either. If you have type B blood, you can easily receive type B, or you can receive type O because that's not adding any new antigens. But you can't receive A, and you can't receive AB. If you have type AB blood, you're actually really in luck. You've already got the A antigen, you've already got the B antigen, so you can receive A, you can receive B, of course you can receive AB, and you can receive O because there aren't any antigens on O. So we call a person with AB blood a universal recipient because they can receive all of the blood types. On the other hand, the people with type O blood are our universal donors. They don't have any antigens on their blood, so they can donate to any of the different blood types, but they can't receive blood from anybody but someone else with type O blood. They'll attack A or B or AB. Now typically when you tell somebody your blood type, do you just say I'm type A or I'm type O? No, we usually add a positive or negative to that. For example, I'm type AB positive. The most common blood type in the United States is A positive. The positive or negative refers to what we call the RH factor, and that depends on a different antigen on the surface of the red blood cells called the D antigen. If your red blood cells have the D antigen, then they're referred to as positive. They're RH positive blood cells. If your blood cells don't have the D antigen, then they're negative blood cells. When it comes to blood type, as far as donating blood types, the same rules apply. You never add a new antigen. So if someone has a positive blood type, that means they have the D antigen. So they can receive positive blood types that have the D antigen. They can also receive negative blood types that don't have the D antigen. On the other hand, people who don't have the D antigen, people with negative blood types, can they receive it from anybody with a positive blood type? No, because that would be adding a new antigen and their body would destroy that. So, if you have negative blood types, you can only receive blood from someone with a negative blood type, even though you can donate to someone with a positive or negative blood type. When you're matching blood for transfusions, you need to make sure to consider the ABO factor as well as the RH factor, the positive or negative. So it's easiest to consider them one at a time. For example, the most common blood type I told you was A positive. If someone has A positive blood, what antigens are present on their blood cells? They have A antigens because they have A blood, and they have the D antigen because they're positive, so they have A and D antigens. So you can give them any type of blood that has A or D antigens or no antigens. What can't you give them? B antigen. You can't give them anything with the B antigen. So that means someone with A positive blood could receive blood from someone with A positive or A negative, or O positive or O negative. They couldn't receive from anybody with a B or an AB blood type, whether it was positive or negative. Let's try another one. Let's look at someone who has type B negative blood. If they have B negative blood, what antigens are on the surface of their red blood cells? They've got B. Any D? No, because they're negative, so they don't have the D antigen. So they have B antigen. So let's think about what blood types they can receive. Just looking at the B, just at the ABO, they could receive B or they could receive O. Now looking at what's going on with the positive or negative, they have a negative blood type. Can they receive positive blood types? No. Can they receive negative blood types? Yes. So that means they could receive B negative or O negative. Let's switch it around and look at who that person could donate to. If someone had B negative blood, they can donate to someone with B blood or someone with AB blood. Since they have negative blood, can they donate to positive blood types or negative blood types or both? Both. So that would mean they could donate to B negative or B positive, or to AB negative or to AB positive. Take just a minute to think about this. If we add in the positive and negative, what blood type is the true universal recipient that could receive any of the different blood types? AB positive. People with AB positive blood have the A antigen, the B antigen, and the D antigen. They already have all of the antigens. They can receive any of the blood types. So that's great for me as someone with AB positive blood. Any of you could donate your blood to me. Which blood type is the universal donor? The one blood type that could donate to anyone? O negative. Most people are familiar with that, and anyone with O negative blood is usually very much sought after by the blood banks. O negative blood doesn't have any of the antigens. No A, no B, no D. It can be donated to anybody. So for those of you with O negative, thanks for being generous to everybody.